Hello? Anyone in here? Why is it empty? Hello, folks. Hello, hello, hello. Bill Simmons is concerned about Boston. Are you? It's funny you asked that. I literally just finished watching that game. They're 10-9 in their last 19. Ten and 9 in their last 19. So quick little housekeeping stuff. Didn't stream last night. Figures. I really didn't have time. Working on trade deadline stuff. You guys know every year we like to do the trade deadline prediction video. That'll be coming out soon. Hopefully next week, Thursday-ish is what I'm aiming for. The goal this year is to get one exactly right. We've gotten close. Last year, we damn near predicted the Gordon Hayward trade almost perfectly. And that was, I think, before there was any real talk about that potentially happening. The goal is to get one right perfectly. I was going to do on stream today, we were going to do a PowerPoint stream. I mentioned that. We were going to go through the last 10 trade deadlines. I was working on that, and I thought, you know what? These are so interesting that I feel like it deserves more of our attention. So next week, throughout the week, we'll be deep diving into some of the last trade deadlines towards the end of the stream, because some of them deserve their own real deep dive. Because, man, like the 2015 trade deadline was so fucking nuts. Whereas, like, the 2016 trade deadline, like, damn near nothing happened. Gordon Hayward was correct. Was it exactly correct? No, it wasn't exactly correct. Let's go back and look. Let's go back and look at some of the mock trades I concocted last year. I whipped up in the brain. Marvel Rivals is ruining our beautiful streams. No, I haven't played Marvel Rivals the last few days. I've actually been working on this trade deadline stuff. But it's again, it's what's it called? Some of this stuff deserves its own separate little deep dive. Here we go. Don't join Planet Fitness, guys. Shit ass gym. Oh, this was a good intro. This was a good intro. Can I just get one? All right. Pacers, I think they'll do something. It sounds like they Sadiq Bey trade. The Boston Celtics to the Celtics. Was this last year? Okay. Didn't happen. I mean, what kind? Did he get traded last year? No, he didn't, right? Dennis Smith Jr. trade. Don't think that happened. Royce O'Neal to the Cavs. Did get traded, but got traded to the Suns, obviously. This was kind of an interesting trade. Doug McDermott trade. My God, we really get into it. We really get deep into the weeds. Yeah, this would have ended up being a pretty shit trade for the Bucks. Marcel with the 5. Daddy's like, can you tell me the story of Omax the Great? It's a story many won't tell you. It's a story the Jedi won't tell you. Gordon Hayward trade. Here we go. Oh, man. This was almost 100% correct. Wait, what did that trade look like? I left Micic out. Oh. The trade was Davis Bertans, Treyman, and Micic instead of Poku. I thought Poku was in that trade. 2024 second, 2025 second. So 2 seconds. Monte Morris trade. Did he end up getting traded? This trade made sense to me in a lot of ways. He did. He got traded to the Timberwolves last year. But it was for Troy Brown Jr. and Shake Milton. Kyle Anderson didn't get traded. PJ Tucker didn't get traded. Miles Bridges to the Suns. That would have been something. This would have been interesting. Oh, Daniel Gafford trade to the Rockets for 4 second rounders. That would have been really interesting. Alec Burks. I think I had him going to the Knicks. Okay, I did. Didn't think Boyan would be in that trade. They didn't even need to give up a first for Boyan to be included, right? Victor Oladipo is not in the NBA currently, but he was last year just as a contract. That was Boyan and Burks for Ryan. I always fucked up this guy's last name. Arca Diacono, Malachi Flynn, Evan Fournier, and Quentin Grimes. Our first for Burks is horrific. Yeah, I was trying to remember my logic on that. Andrew Wiggins trade. Oh! Oh, man. This really made some sense to me at the time. I need you to understand this was going around quite a bit, and it did make some sense when you dove into it. The Warriors were struggling last year. Wiggins wasn't good. It all kind of made sense. Archie Diacono. That's right. Wiggs trade value is more than that. Probably now. You have to remember last year was bad for him. Oh, yeah. And this weird trade. I had no idea what the Mavericks were going to do. This sort of made some sense to me at the time. This sort of made some sense to me. Like the Heat get a player who I think they would kind of like, Maxey. This was more a Caleb Martin thing than a Thomas Bryant thing. You have to remember the Mavs are in a bad state here. I really had no clue what they're going to do, and I was not high on them at all. I was really down about them. Brogdon to the Sixers. Could have been interesting. My God, Marcus Morris was making $17 million last year. Archie Diacono. Bruce Brown obviously didn't end up getting traded. What was this crazy ass trade I had for them? Kings. Oh, with the Raptors getting Denny Avdia. That would have been interesting. Hey, kind of right process that Denny Avdia would end up on a non-contending team. Zach LaVine trade. Obviously, this didn't happen. And Zach LaVine has rebuilt his value so much since then. My God. DeJounte Murray, the big one. Where'd I have him going? To the Nets. Hey, Dorian, I was about to say, I predicted Dorian to go to the Lakers for like 2 or 3 years. Surprise blockbuster trade. Oh my Lord, Trae Young to the Spurs. Last year at the, before the trade deadline got here. Last year felt like it was going to be a fun one, and I don't think it ended up being that great. Sorry, did not cook. These are more fun than anything else. This is more for fun. $2015 trade deadline was probably the craziest trade deadline of all time up until that point. There were 7 or 8 trades made in the last 10 minutes. I want to see my trade deadline prediction video from 2 years ago. Dude, these thumbnails are so fucking bad.
Adobe Creative Cloud.
This is back when I was standing up all the time. This has to be a troll. A mystery candidate in the Cowboys head coaching search is believed to be former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Hawley. That's a joke. That has to be a joke. All right, I'm trying to remember. My God, this was an hour long. Why did I spend 30 minutes talking about what each team was going to do? I should not have done that. I spent over half the video talking about what teams are going to do what. I think this was after the Kyrie trade. God. Look at the shit I was cooking up. Goga for a second. Andre Drummond to the Sixers. It ended up happening. I don't know if it happened that year. No, it didn't. He stayed on the Bulls and then was supposed to go to the Mavs that summer. Remember that? No, Goga was just... what did the Pacers end up doing with him? Did he get traded that deadline or did he just leave? Oh, he got traded that deadline to Orlando. No, he got waived. Yeah, he got straight up waived. Wow. And just a little bit early on this one. Just a little bit early. JaVale McGee and Reggie Bullock to the Kings for Rashawn Holmes and Terrence Davis. What is it? Where is Terrence Davis? Wow, I spent a ton of effort. I put a ton of effort into this video. Wall Street. Plum Dog Millionaire to the Nuggets. That would have been nice for them. Did he get traded to the Clippers this year? This was when he was Plum Dog Millionaire. Yeah, he got traded to the Clippers. Slightly girthy. Yeah, we've slimmed down since then. Oh God, this is when we had our Prize Pick sponsorship. Alec Burks to the Pistons, or to the Pelicans. He didn't end up getting traded. We loved Alec Burks trades, huh? Knicks get Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson for Evan Fournier, Cam Reddish. That would have been an interesting trade. What did the Knicks do at this deadline? I don't remember off the top of my head. Price Picks brain rot was the reason for Plum Dog Millionaire era. It was. So Josh Hart did get traded at this deadline. Oh, but he got traded to the Knicks, didn't he? Yeah, that was when they got Josh Hart. So I had him going to the Sixers for Korkmaz, Matisse Thybulle, Jaden Springer. You know, sometimes you're just right early. Thybulle on the Blazers. Chris Duarte for Jared Vanderbilt. What a nothing ass trade. Oh, here's what we were cooking up for the Mavs. This was the season from hell, obviously, and things were bad. I wanted Christian Wood so far off the team. I wanted Christian Wood so far off the Mavs. Was this before the Kyrie trade? January 31st. It had to have been then, right? Bertans and Christian Wood for Patty Mills, Joe Harris, and Day'Ron Sharp. Jesus Christ.
Smart decisions. You can't think about, okay, like they need this, this, and this. We do this, this, and this. It has to be, okay, fuck, what's some panic moves? I think they're do this, this, and this. Decisions. Brain of Mavericks front office. You can't think about smart.
We were so down bad.
Brain of Mavericks front office. You can't think about smart decisions. You can't think about, okay, like they need this.
We were so down bad. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I thought this would have been a nice. This was before the KD trade and the Kyrie trade. Ended up just blowing this all up. Oh, Nuggets getting Caruso. That would have been sick. That was when Bones Highland still had a shred of value. Anthony Simons still not traded. Oh, I was so convinced Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. were going to the Lakers that year. So convinced. Interesting. Bones just got figured out. That's it. That's it. All right, let's lock in here. Who owns the Oklahoma City Thunder? Oh, Dallas Mavericks. Which one of these countries hasn't produced an MLB MVP winner? Okay, well, I'm going to assume Australia. All right. They shit on Australia for the NBA question, I think, as well. Which coach has the most titles in women's college basketball? Is that Don Staley or Gino? It's got to be Gino, right? Okay. Who did Corbin Burns recently sign with? Oh, shit. Oh, Diamondbacks. Okay. Whew. Who holds the men's 100-meter dash record? Is it still Usain Bolt or has that been broken? I'm assuming that's been broken. I don't really know. Okay, no. Wow. How about that? Among active players, only Kevin Durant and blank played for the Supersonics, not Russell Westbrook. I think it's Jeff Green. Shout out to Uncle Jeff. What city is University of Oregon in? Eugene? All right, hold on. We're kind of cooking here. This NBA player has also won the Heisman Trophy. Charlie Ward. We're cooking. What town is Clemson in? This is where we might run into some problems. I think Columbia sounds right. Or is it just Clemson? It's not Hilton Head. I don't think it's Charleston either. I think it's Columbia. Fuck! Clemson. Oh, my God. Who is the nation's leading scorer in men's Division I basketball? I actually don't know. I don't know. Trenton McLaughlin? Eric Dixon? Okay. I really don't know. I don't follow college basketball at all. Who is the nation's leading scorer in women's D1 basketball? I'm going to guess Juju, but I don't think it is. All right. Well, we would have lost that anyway, so we're good. Got reverse psychology. I know. They trick you. Columbia, South Carolina. No, I'm going to be real. I don't know which Carolina Clemson's in. Another tough streak king. Better than 97% of players, you know? We just gotta persevere. One day they'll ask what city do the Dallas Cowboys play in, and we'll be ready. Yeah, hopefully that answer changes soon when they get relocated. Relocate the Dallas Cowboys, man. Or you know what? How about this? Put a new team in Plano. We want the Plano Pirates. Oh yeah, we've gotten all 10 a couple times. When are they hiring Brian Schattenheimer? Slightly, is the OKC fan base more triggered about the PJ Washington making threes than the Mavs fan base is triggered about SGA winning MVP before Luka? I think Thunder fans are more triggered, to be honest with you. Pete Carroll to the Raiders made me laugh out loud. Wait, what? Wait, what? Trump third White House term eyed by House resolution. Fuck yeah. Why not? I saw a hilarious tweet. It was about the Suns. That was the Suns seem to be the only team that realizes we're not making it to 2028. That might be true. Raiders Tom Brady went from 38-year-old Ben Johnson to 73-year-old Pete Carroll. You know what? There might be some value there. It's not like that team's going to be good anytime soon. Bring in an old coach who can, whip these boys into shape. Let's get into it. Oh, is I going to piss off the MAGAs? They already hate me. There's a common trend amongst the people who are constantly hating me on Twitter. Allen has a hockey team? Yeah, they do. The Allen Americans. We're probably not that far away. Not close, but not that far away from a team building a stadium in like the suburbs. Which I wouldn't want. I like when stadiums are in the middle of the city. Do some trade hypotheticals. Trust me, we'll be getting into that next week, okay? I'm still on that side for sure. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, January 24th, 11:03 a.m. Central Standard Time. We got a lot to talk about today. The Dallas Mavericks, they do it again, folks. They do it again against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have lost 8 times this season. 3 of those are to the Dallas Mavericks. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 20-3 at home so far this season. 2 of those are against the Dallas Mavericks. What is happening with this rivalry? I don't know. But this rivalry is very real. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the other games that went on last night. Some interesting stuff. Jokic had an unbelievable performance. And that does open up the question that I think we should talk about is whether or not the MVP race is really dead yet. I thought it was personally. And then Shea dropped 50, finally got that 50 piece against the Jazz. And his odds went all the way to minus 600 for MVP, which is absolutely crazy. But then Jokic last night, what was it? 35, 20, and 15. And it was 17 assists, but there was like only one other person that ever had that stat line. Actually insane. He dominated that game. And shout out to Dougie McBuckets. Because if I were a Nuggets fan, I would be on my hands and knees thinking Dougie McBuckets. Because without him scoring 15 points in the fourth quarter on 5 threes, Jokic doesn't even check back into that game. The stat pad a little bit more. So, how about that? By the way, we've played 45 games and 35 of them have been against West teams. Yeah, the Mavericks haven't had like a big, long East Coast road trip yet, which I think they're about to embark on soon. Are they about to have a stretch playing Eastern Conference teams? That starts obviously with the Celtics tomorrow, and I will talk about a little bit about that game because I watched that game this morning, Celtics-Lakers. Very strange stuff going on with the Celtics, who are 10-9 in their last 19 games. So, what's happening there? I'm not sure. I am sure, actually. I think it's a big Drew Holiday problem. But anyways, let's start here. Let us start here, folks. Let us start here. Oh, why didn't you guys tell me I didn't have the chat up on the screen, guys? This is up to y'all. Y'all are my executive producers. Melverick, welcome to the Slightly Delusional Club. You guys are my executive producers, man. Come on, guys. We got to be better. We got to be better collectively. All right. Ad blocker on. Jesus, ESPN. Like, my God. Hey, King, chat's missing. Thank you. Thought you were trying something new. Speaking of something new lighting setup. Looks good. There's no shadows. There's nothing. You know, I got the rule of threes with the lights. I got my fill light. I got my backlight. I mean, things are looking good. Things are looking good. The Dallas Mavericks, okay. I don't want to say they own the Oklahoma City Thunder, but damn it, folks, they might just own them. I mean, they just might. They win 121-115 against the Thunder. As I mentioned earlier, the Thunder have 8 losses this season. 3 of them are against the Dallas Mavericks. 3 losses at home. They're 20-3 at home. 2 of those losses are against the Dallas Mavericks. Interestingly enough, the Mavs are 3-1 this year against the Oklahoma City Thunder. 3-0 when Luka plays, 1-0 when Luka doesn't. What does that mean? Nothing really. You have to add context to these games. The 3 Mavs wins, Chet and Hartenstein were both out, right? So Chet and Hartenstein were both out. You have to add that. You just do. It's important context. But of course, what are we supposed to say about that when the Mavericks were without 7 rotational players last night and have been one of the most injured teams in the entire NBA so far this season? So the injury excuse kind of, it wears thin on me. It rings hollow when it's coming from a team other than the Dallas Mavericks. What an impressive game from this Mavs team. PJ Washington, 22 points, 19 rebounds, should have had 20. 22 and 19. That's what PJ Washington finished this game with. 22 points and 19 rebounds. Unbelievable stat line. His dominance over the Oklahoma City Thunder continues. If we were to look at PJ Washington's career stats against the Thunder, obviously his career high came against the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, I believe, while he was on the Charlotte Hornets. While he was on the Charlotte Hornets, he dropped 43 points. Was this a year ago? Oh, that was against the Jazz. That was 2 years ago, where he dropped 43 points against the Oklahoma City Thunder while he was a member of the Charlotte Hornets. 19 rebounds last night, career high for him against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then, of course, the dominant performance in the playoffs last year. What are his stats in the games against the Thunder so far this season? Let's see. He's averaging, where are they? 21 points, 14 rebounds per game against the Thunder. 69% true shooting in 3 games. Wow. 22 and 14. And there's obviously some matchup stuff there for him, right? They're smaller. PJ mentioned this in the post-game presser. They're smaller. He can post up. He can drive and attack some of these smaller players, and he uses that size to his advantage, obviously. But there's something else. There's an added factor here. There's something mental there. He's also shooting 53% from three against them this season. There is a mental thing there. He sees red whenever he sees the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's just it. He sees red. It turns on for him. Something clicks. He gets going. He's one of these players that absolutely feeds off of energy. He feeds off of negative energy. And really, when you're trying to win, you need that. You need a guy like that on your team. Absolutely. Last year in the playoffs, obviously 17 points, 8 rebounds, shot 47% from three against the Thunder. He was incredible. Incredible in that series. He feeds off the negative energy. He feeds off the booze. He feeds off of the chippiness. And make no mistake about it, this rivalry is very, very real. It extends. There are rivalries in the NBA where the fan bases hate each other. But the teams don't really. I think about the Nuggets and the Sixers, for example. Cross conference, you only play each other twice a year. Kind of hard to have a rivalry in that sense. But the fans get at it. The fans hate each other. Nothing but respect across the teams, right? This is a serious rivalry. The fans don't like each other. That goes without being said. The teams do not like each other. And it's just going to continue. What makes this better is obviously the Mavs won the playoffs last year, but they've also beat them 3 times this year. So you just know. That the Mavs are the Thunder are going to be ready if these teams meet in the playoffs. It's going to be chippy. There's going to be ejections. There's going to be fights. There was an ejection last night. Lou Dort. Someone said 7 of the last 12 OKC losses have been in the Mavs. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. That's actually nuts. That is actually crazy. Last night, TNT crew after the Boston LA game was trying to convince us that was the biggest rivalry in the NBA. I mean, Boston Lakers, Celtics Lakers is historically the biggest rivalry in the league. It hasn't had the same punch. It's hard cross conference. You have to meet in the finals regularly. Like Cavs and Warriors was a great rivalry. Why? They met in the fucking finals every year for 5 years. Half a decade pretty much of Cavs Warriors. That's a rivalry. You tuned in. They played regular season game, that iconic Christmas Day game. They play a regular season game, you tune in, right? Lakers and Celtics used to play each other all the time in the finals. You don't really see that much anymore. There hasn't even been a team that's made back-to-back finals since the Warriors. Isn't that crazy to think about? A team, forget like winning back-to-back finals. A team has not gone to the finals 2 years in a row since the Warriors. In a league that oftentimes gets shit on for not having a lot of parity, has actually had more parity than any other American sport. I can't speak to hockey. I don't know. Any of the real big 3 American sports in the 2020s. Baseball, I feel like, has next to no parity right now. NFL, everyone always talks about the NFL parity. NFL has no parity whatsoever. That's the biggest misconception that there is. NFL has no parity. None. Why do I say that? You have a good quarterback, congratulations, you're in the mix. You have a bad quarterback, you have no fucking chance. All right, thank you. I watch hockey and everyone hates each other, but there's no real rivalries. I'll take your word for it. Last team to make back-to-back Western Conference Finals. There haven't been many. The Mavs are the only team to make it twice in the last 4 years. So I think maybe in the decade. 2020 Conference Finals was Lakers Trailblazers. 2021 Conference Finals, that was the year the Bucks won, was Suns Clippers. 2022 was Mavs Warriors. 2023 Nuggets Lakers. Was that the conference finals? Oh, wait. 2020 was Denver, wasn't it? 2020 was Denver, not Portland. I don't know why I said Portland. 2020 was Denver. Portland played the Lakers in round 1. And then last year, obviously, it was Mavs and Timberwolves. That's a lot. That's a lot of different teams. That's actually kind of crazy when you think about it. I always forget that the Lakers made the conference finals in 2023. Yeah. Chiefs repeated last year, but they were the first team to repeat since the Patriots in 02 and 03. It just feels like the same teams are in the mix every year in the NFL. Can you admit Jokic is overrated? He's literally doing the same thing Luka did last year, but is getting glazed. So I mentioned this last night on Locked On. I don't. It was when Shea dropped his 50-piece. Nick was kind of joking, like, "Are we going to hear the media how bad defense is?" And I was like, "I hope we don't," because I didn't want them to talk about that with Luka last year, and they did, and I thought it was the lamest shit. I was saying Luka's praises last year when he had an unbelievable season, should have won MVP. So if somebody's having a similar season, I'm going to sing their praises as well because I just did it last year. Unk, did you ban me? No, I didn't. You're still here, Kelly Olynyk guy. But anyways, so PJ just sees red whenever he sees this lineup. And I want to give a shout out. Kessler Edwards in the starting lineup. This would be a fun like little trivia question down the line. Kessler Edwards starting a game for the Dallas Mavericks in their Western Conference title defense season. What's up with him with the 3-ball? Was never like a great 3-point shooter, but used to shoot them like somewhat frequently with the Nets. Pretty decent percentage. Nearly 3 a game. Why is he like Ben Simmons level from 3 now? Like doesn't even look at the rim. What's up with that? Rookie season, nearly 3-point attempts a game on 35%. I mean, not a great percentage. Yeah, he got the yips. I thought he gave the Mavs some pretty solid minutes last night, though. I will give him that. Gafford played really well again for the Mavericks. He's really stepped up in a major way. Kyrie, I thought, was awesome in this game. 24 points, 8 of 17. I thought he was fantastic. Dinwiddie, this is why you got to live with the Dinwiddie shitters. And it really sucks when he has the shitters. And when he's in the process of having the shitters, you say to yourself, I'm done with this guy. I can't handle this experience any longer. Yeah, but then that's exactly it. He's not scared. He's not shy. You do need guys like that. And then one of the bigger stories for the Mavs. Well, shout out to Quentin Grimes. It was kind of looking like maybe I need to take that video down about Quentin Grimes. 0 points going in the fourth quarter. 9 points in the fourth. Big. Hit a couple huge threes. But our boy Omax, 14 points. 4 of 6 from the field. 1 of 2 from deep. 5 of 9 from the free throw line. Got to clean that up. But Omax, this is what a season from hell could produce. Right? This is what a season from hell could lead to. Is guys getting put in having opportunities they otherwise wouldn't. Taking advantage of that and really developing. Again, taking advantage of opportunities they otherwise would not have. So Omax, it's good to see. His energy level's great. His effort on the boards is incredible. 2 offensive rebounds. I mean, how many times do the Mavs miss a shot? And Omax is down there tipping the ball up, battling for rebounds, and they lead to defensive rebounds. But just in that effort, crashing the glass, in that effort, fighting for rebounds, your defense has time to get back and get set. That's important stuff. He's got to be aggressive when he has his moments. If he's going to have big minutes here, hey, 20 minutes for Omax is a lot. You just got to tell him, be aggressive. If you're open, shoot it. If you have a driving lane, drive. Don't be scared. Don't pass out. Get going. You're on the court for a reason. You're in the NBA for a reason. Shoot that. Give all Maxi's minutes to Omax. I thought Maxi was great last night too, by the way. I thought he was actually really good. I'm becoming a little bit of a Maxi defender. Not that I think he's great or anything. If the Mavs could trade him at the trade deadline and upgrade somewhere, great, do it. But you guys should respect him a little bit more. I'm not saying you guys, but the Maxi haters. He plays his ass off. He really does. And I have to be honest because we're about to talk about Poo Dork. He's got a little dirty streak in him now. He's got a little dirty streak. You know, he had that illegal screen on J-Dub. He put his elbow into his ribs. He knew exactly what he was fucking doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. But Maxi, in 19 minutes, 4 assists. This is really one of the best playmaking stretches of his career. Maxi's completely fine as a player. Completely fine. So let's talk about the Thunder. J-Dub had 33. He was awesome in this game. I mean, he's really fucking good. Shea had 31. He's going to give you 31. I think Bibbs maybe said it. I said it after the game as well on Locked On. That is one of the criticisms of Shea. A very strange criticism. But you need 30 points, he's giving you 30 points. You need 40 points, he's probably giving you 30 points. Now, that hasn't necessarily been true so far this season. And this was coming off a game where he just had a career high, 50 points. First time he had 50 in his career. And to be fair, a lot of that was late in the game. Mavs were conceding layups, basically, to try and avoid fouling or giving up threes. And Shea just kind of put up a ton of points in that little stretch. I still don't feel J-Dub's presence, even when he scores. I do. I mean, late in games, tough buckets are the name of the game. J-Dub from mid-range is pretty lethal. And you do feel it. Lou Dort gets ejected from this game, a flagrant 2. 23 minutes. Just on some absolute bullshit, man. This guy's my least favorite player in the league, straight up. Straight up my least favorite player in the league. I'm not a fan of a single fucking thing he does. His antics are out of control. And look, it does feel, Istok pointed this out today, it does feel like somebody called, we talked about this when the Mavs played the Thunder a few days ago. Lou Dort got called for that flopping tech immediately. And I mentioned, I was like, it feels like the Cavs might have called the league office or something because they gave him that flopping tech immediately. It felt like somebody might have called the league office, a team, and be like, hey, can you monitor Lou Dort, please? Can you monitor Lou Dort? This shit he's doing is unbelievable. And I was telling this to one of my friends who's a Thunder fan. We were talking last night. He was getting a little upset because I was straight up like, I fucking can't stand Lou Dort. I hate him. But can't stand Lou Dort. But I was kind of saying, man, when the Thunder start getting good, and I mean, they are good. They're a great team now. But when they start getting in playoff series, the more casual fan base becomes more acclimated to them. And just naturally, the more exposed you are, the more you're on national TV, the more you're in the playoffs, the deeper you go, the more fans get familiar with you, the less you're going to be liked. No team stays that, oh, look, you just got to love this team forever. No team stays that way. Think about the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs in 2016 were, oh, man, what a great story. The lovable loser Cubs are finally winning. And that felt like, this was when I was like really following the MLB. That shit was gone immediately. And they were like no longer a likable team, really. It's going to happen for the Thunder. I don't think people are going to like the Thunder. I don't think people are going to like Lou Dort. I think people are going to get annoyed as fuck by Dagnall. I don't think people are going to like him. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That means you're good. I mean, kicking his leg out on a screen. Jesus. The flop right here. which was there a push off? I saw Thunder fans. He pushed off. You guys don't want these push offs called. Everyone pushes off. Okay? Everyone does. I mean, man, physically, how is that even possible? That defies the laws of physics. And then this play right here, unbelievably dirty. He did this to Derek Lively last year as well. I mean, there's no defending that whatsoever. Very dirty play. Very, very dirty play. SGA uses his shoulder more than a straight push off, but very dirty play. I mean, potentially a felony. That might put you, if depending on the context, that could put you on a list. Seriously. But this is what a rivalry is all about right here. We don't like it. We don't like them. We don't like them. And look, I get it. Like, I saw Mavs fans on Twitter like, how could Thunder fans defend this guy? Because they're Thunder fans, man. Like, what are you talking about? Of course they're going to defend him. Thunder fans hate PJ Washington. Why do they hate PJ when they have Dort on their team? Because he fucking kills them. Of course they're going to hate PJ. None of that's weird to me. That's what makes a rivalry great. Of course. No, I hated Zaza Pachulia, but that's different. Of course, they're going to defend Lou Dort. Of course, they're going to hate PJ. And to be fair, I more so saw Thunder fans defending that flop on Kyrie versus Thunder fans defending the. There's really no defending this. Like, if a player on your team does this, what do you even say? It's like that's a dumbass play. We witnessed sexual assault last night. Like the Nas Reed for us. Yeah, so I was actually thinking that exact comparison today. Or I was trying to think what a comparison for the Mavs for PJ Washington would be. And it is like Nas Reed. But then the added, let's say the Timberwolves beat the Mavs in the playoffs last year, and Nas Reed was like talking shit and like standing over guys and shoving some guys every now and then. That would be the equivalent, basically. Miles Turner, yeah, but it's an added, like, a player who is a good player, but just turns to another level against us, has beaten us, and has talked shit the entire time. That's the equivalent. So, Desmond Bane, I don't think there's like a really great comparison. Nas Reed, it was the one I was thinking of. Or if the Mavs lost to the Timberwolves and Nas Reed was talking shit, that would have been it, really. But a great win for the Mavs, man. I mean, just when you think you're out, they pull you right back in, huh? They pull you right back in. If Nas Reed hit that shot in game 2, and he was going crazy in that game too. Stay on that side, man. Stay on that side. Thoughts on people named James Jimmy? James, completely cool with. Jimmy, get serious. What up, Jimbo? Like, are you joking? Let's talk really quickly about Jokic's game last night. 35 points, 22 rebounds, 17 assists, only 1 turnover. 12 of 19 from the field. Okay. The Nuggets are now 28-16. I believe that was their 4th straight win. They're on a bit of a hot tear. 4 straight wins for the Nuggets. I want to say they're 8-1 in the last 9. Yeah, they are 8-1 in their last 9 games. They're playing much better basketball lately, and it's time. I think it is time to take them pretty seriously as a contender. I had thought that it just sort of felt throughout most of the season up until this point that it was Thunder, admittedly in a tier kind of by themselves, with the Mavericks nipping at their heels a little bit. Just a good matchup for the Mavs. Mavs look great whenever they're a healthy basketball team. Definitely could beat the Thunder. And then it just kind of felt like there was a gap between the next couple teams. Not fair to the Grizzlies, really, but I think we're kind of living with some of the some of the memories of Grizzlies in the playoffs and how they've flamed out a little bit at times during the postseason. And they haven't really done a lot to address some of those areas of concern that we have. The Rockets just don't have a reliable go-to number one guy. I mean, that immediately takes you out of real contender talks. But the Nuggets have sort of reached a point where they feel pretty serious. Because you got Jokic playing bare minimum top 2 player in the world, right? Still probably the best player in the world. SGA's having a great season. Jokic is still probably the best in the world. Russ has just, I mean, they have maximized Russell Westbrook in a way I don't think anybody could have imagined, even in their wildest dreams. Like, if you would have said, hey, Russ went to the Nuggets and is just doing great stuff off the bench and is really kind of captaining that bench unit, I think a lot of people would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But doing this is just insane. Michael Porter Jr. has been playing really well. 4 offensive rebounds last night. I mean, he's just doing a lot of small stuff this year that's really upped his stock as a player. They should not trade him. I think that would be a nightmare. And I don't know how much truth there is to some of those rumors. I don't think that would make any sense for them. At least in some of the returns that we've seen. Christian Brown, 3 straight 20-point games, I want to say. And they've really been without Aaron Gordon for most of this. Yeah, AG isn't right yet. $5 donation from Paul. They won't give it to Jokic because that makes him an all-time great, and they aren't ready to give that to him yet. Well, I think SGA's had an MVP season. Like, he checks all the boxes, SGA does, for MVP. He's been incredible. Their team's much worse with him off the court. They're going to win 60-plus games. Thoughts on Khalil Ware? Could he win Rookie of the Year? He's been balling out lately. I need to watch one of the Heat games. Admittedly, I haven't been paying that much attention to it. I really think Jokic is getting MVP until he isn't given the award. Nothing can change my mind. Well, this is interesting because I will say right now, I think SGA is going to win the award. I think a lot would have to go wrong. But if you were a betting person, I would put money on Jokic right now. Plus 340 is crazy. Plus 340 is actually crazy with a little under half the season left. A lot can happen. And if the Nuggets end up being a top 2, top 3 seed, Jokic is going to have a really, really strong argument. When do you think Wemby will win his first MVP? I think it'll be 2-3 years when we start really getting into the Wemby MVP stuff. Only because I think they're probably going to remain relatively patient with their roster. And you got to win a certain amount of games. Like if they're the 5 seed next year, which would be a really solid improvement for them, and that would be great. That's not enough to get the MVP usually. He was plus 420 yesterday. I mean, Giannis doesn't have a chance to win it, I don't think. But this, remember very early in the season, Jokic was a very comfortable favorite and SGA was second. There might be value in just sprinkling money on the number 2 guy in MVP voting over the course of the season. There might be some value there. Not gonna lie, I still fear the Nuggets starting 5 in the playoffs with as many minutes as they'll get. Yeah, I mean, this is still a good team. They deserve your respect now. And Aaron Gordon's been dealing with that calf injury. Weird game last night. I don't know what the hell happened. He turned the ball over at the end of the first quarter, then went back to the locker room. And everyone on the bench, you could see everyone on the bench was like watching him go back to the locker room. Like, what the hell? He looked very frustrated. And then barely played at all in the second quarter, if he even did. It was weird. He came back to the bench, though, and everything was fine. Maybe he was just upset, frustrated. Need to go vent a little bit. Peyton Watson was awesome last night, too, by the way. 4 blocks and a steal. But anyways, take them seriously. By the way, the Kings, there's something weird going on here because they've been playing really well lately, and I don't want to poo-poo them. And you know I'm king of poo-pooing the Kings. But There's some very strange De'Aaron Fox stuff happening. Well, it's really not that strange. He's got a hand injury, and it's been rough for him. It's been rough for him lately. There's been Kings fans I've seen who are like basically saying if D Fox has to be shut down for the season, then shut him down. That's how poor his play's been. Missed 3 games, start of January with a hand injury. In the 6 games since he's come back, 18 points on 17 shots per game. 35% from the field, 28% from deep, and bad misses. I mean, he shot a corner 3 yesterday off the top of the side of the backboard. So, just something to monitor. Hand injuries, man. Spooky. Spooky. And then the other game I watched, Fox should get traded to the Spurs. He's a name to watch in the offseason for sure. The Lakers ass to belt to ass. Celtics last night, who I mentioned 10-9 in the last 19 games. Very weird stuff going on. And I think most of it can be tied to Drew Holiday. Like, just straight up. Most of it is Drew Holiday. I really do think. I think a lot of their woes are Drew Holiday. He's 34% from 3 this year. He's shooting more threes than he ever has in his career. Trying to get going. And they ain't going in. 34% from 3. 10 percentage points less than last year. 10 percentage points less. He's got like a lingering shoulder injury that he's dealing with. He's getting older, obviously. Celtics fans despise KP still. They're saying they never win consistently with him. I'll take it a step further. KP, Tatum, and Brown, when they're on the floor together, have a negative net rating this year. A negative net rating when those 3 are on the court together. Yeah. Very weird. Pretty small sample. I think it's like 200 minutes or something like that. But yeah. It's just kind of weird. Like the Thunder are 290 minutes minus 2.2 net rating. The flow of the offense can be kind of weird at times. Like last night, the Lakers defensively, we're just like, you guys can just live with KP post-ups. We're okay with that. We're going to switch everything. If y'all's offensive game plan revolves around KP getting post touches, cool. We feel like that kind of alters the flow of your offense a little bit. And that's exactly what happened. And KP played well. I mean, he took advantage of those mismatches, those post-ups. But Tatum did next to nothing last night. Jaylen Brown had another terrorist performance. Just a little interesting. Yeah, Al Horford looks a little step slow. It's just something to think about. No, I agree. I agree with you, Xavier. I'm not doing the Celtics might be cooked. They're not as good thing. Like they're still the Celtics. They're not shooting as well from 3 this season. They're not shooting as well from 3. Drew's really been struggling. He's dealing with this shoulder issue. Yeah, Celtics could be due a huge 3-point shooting game. Yeah, and they're still 31-14. I didn't think they'd have a funk like this. Yeah, it's really just 3-point shooting. That's really it. But there is some, I was seeing a Celtics fan who's talking about how some of their best lineups last year, they hardly go to it all anymore. Like some of their best lineups that included Horford, that had 1,000+ minutes played. I think it was Tatum. I think it was White, Brown, and Horford. That trio's barely been on the court together so far this season. We kind of penciled in Horford and Drew, like eventually those guys are going to get old, but maybe it just happened overnight. Sometimes that shit happens like that. Yeah, and Derek White's really been struggling from three. And sort of similar to Fox, his some of his misses are bad. It's one thing to like miss. It's another thing to have, clanks and air balls. But I think they're going to be all right. Lakers have been playing well, too. Shout out to them. So why did the Mavs get screwed, man? What if this was the Boston team they played in June? I mean, the Celtics were on a different level last year. They were just locked in. They'll shoot 65% from three tomorrow. Cross our fingers, they stay cold. Cross our fucking fingers. I'm scared the 3-point will come back tomorrow against us. We cross our fingers, baby. A.B. Tomlin. What does that meme again? All right, we have a couple of new trade updates, by the way. Oh, I want to talk about the All-Star starters were announced last night. When are they announcing the reserves? Is that next week? You agree the Lakers are 1 or 2 pieces away from a title? 1 to 2, like what kind of pieces are we talking about? Wings. They need like pretty high level players. They're solid though. Lucas stole Kai's votes. I never thought Kai was going to be a starter in the All-Star game at least. All right, so here's the Western Conference starters. So immediately off the rip, I saw people mad that Steph Curry was an All-Star starter. 1, it's Steph fucking Curry. 2, the game's in Golden State. Okay? He was always going to be the start. He was always a lock to start. Now, it would have been interesting if Luka was healthy. Then it would have been, is Steph really going to be a starter over one of Luka and Shea? But this is not a surprise whatsoever, especially with Luka out. Steph, Shea, KD, LeBron, and Jokic is your starting 5 in the Western Conference. Feels about right. LeBron, always going to be a starter. KD, one of the most popular players in the league. Jokic was the leading vote getter, I think, across everyone. No, in the Western Conference, he was. Giannis. My Lord, man. Giannis with 4.4 million votes. 700,000 more than the next closest. Does anyone care about starters? Well, some people do because some people were crying about it. Some people were crying, so. Is there any real qualms here? Is Steph Curry really worthy of starting this game? Probably not. Are we riding if Kyrie doesn't make it? You might have to prep for that being an unfortunate reality. I hope he makes it. He should make it. Absolutely. Does Java Case start? I think he's missed too many games. Omax snubbed? Absolutely. Go look at how many All-Star games LeBron has been in. Go to Basketball Reference. It does not say whether he started or not. It doesn't matter. No, yeah, true. Starting doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. with JW reserve. That's going to be one of the interesting ones. Next week we'll do an all-star ballot. Next week we'll do our all-stars. And then the Eastern Conference, Eastern Conference one was kind of interesting. That's where I feel like a lot of the debate was. I could have told you that this was going to be the starting five in the West. The East, JB, deserving, obviously. Donovan Mitchell, kind of interesting. LaMelo Ball was number one in fan vote. And I love LaMelo, and he'll be an all-star this year. Shouldn't have been an all-star starter. Giannis, obviously. Tatum, obviously. And Cat, absolutely. Absolutely deserving. You see the Jalen Smith rumor? What Jalen Smith rumor? Not only should he start, he should take 40 shots. Jalen Smith to Dallas? What says who? Says you? All right, cool. Brett Siegel. A Siegel bomb. So this is always really interesting to me. This is what matters to me more than anything else, because then you can sort of surmise who's going to be making it based off of this. So player rank, fan rank, media rank. Fans take up 50% of the vote. Players 25, media 25. Jokic obviously is going to make it. LeBron was fourth in the media rank. Wemby was second. It's just there's no world where LeBron's not going to start an all-star game. Just no world. Absolutely. Positively. Victor Wembanyama will be in the All-Star game this year. That goes without saying. Jaren Jackson Jr. finished pretty high with the media. I thought Jaren Jackson Jr. was probably going to be a lock to make it. What the fuck is this? Andrew Wiggins? Are we serious? Jaren Jackson Jr. I thought was going to be a lock to make the All-Star game, but they now look at it more, and I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be really interesting to see how they sort of break up the Jaren Jackson Jr., J-Dub. I think Sabonis is going to make it, and he deserves it. Yeah, player rank number 21 on Wiggins. The game is in Golden State. Just remember that. Shea and Steph, both 1 and 2. Now, Luka, 3 in fan rank, 6 in player rank, didn't play, 4 in media rank. They might, if he comes back like a week or so before the All-Star game, when do they do the media? When do they announce it? I don't think Luka's going to make it this year. I just don't. Anthony Edwards finishing high in both the media and fan rank, or player rank. He'll make it. I think Kyrie will make it, but it's tough because Ja's got a strong case. Harden's got a really good case. I think I really do. The way that Fox has been playing lately, I really do think Kyrie deserves it over Fox. I really do. Kyrie's got to make it. And then in the Eastern Conference, LaMelo was so close to being named a starter. Can you imagine what would have happened? What would have happened if LaMelo was a starter over JB? That would have been hilarious to see play out. Look at Jordan Poole finishing high, 8th in media vote. The state of the Eastern Conference, folks. But LaMelo will make the All-Star game. Trey will make the All-Star game. I think Cade's going to make it. And interesting is Darius Garland didn't get much love from the fans, but got a ton of love from the media. Ton of love from the players as well. The coaches pick the next guys, right? Is LaMelo up there for polarizing NBA players? Some fans despise the way he plays and think he doesn't take the game seriously and is never going to be a winner. He's up there for polarizing. He's He's the NBA player of brain rot TikTok content or brain rot YouTube short content where you see it and you're like, who the fuck is watching this? Like, who is watching this? And then you realize, oh, it's kids. Anytime you ask yourself who's watching something, the answer is kids. And that's LaMelo Ball is the NBA equivalent of that. I think Cade's a lock for the All-Star game, personally. Tyrese Maxey should not be in the All-Star game this year. No chance. Tyler Hero's got a pretty strong case, honestly, but I just think the way some of this stuff's shaping up, I don't know if he's going to make it. Front court's going to be interesting in the East. No chance Embiid makes it. He shouldn't. Paolo's missed so much time. Franz has missed so much time, but those guys are having all-star level seasons. Mobley absolutely should be an all-star, and I really do think Jared Allen should. But then in my brain, the Cavs should have 4 all-stars. Is that going to happen? Donovan Mitchell definitely deserves it. I think Garland deserves it. And then Mobley and Allen, I both think. But do they get 4? Do they get 4 all-stars? That's where things get weird. Like there is a world, a very realistic possibility that the Cavs have 4 all-stars and the Thunder have 1. LaMelo is soap cutting while a Reddit story is being read to you. Yes, absolutely. Soap cutting. Cavs might get 4 all-stars. The Cavs might have 1. Is that what I said? J-Dub got to make it. J-Dub will be an interesting one. We shall see. How the rest of the team be picked? It's coaches, right? I think coaches do the rest. No, I don't think Dort's going to make it. Maybe if it was the penis grabbing all-star game, maybe he would make it. But I don't think they have that yet. What are the odds Cleveland is just 2015 Atlanta Hawks 2.0 with better talent, dominant regular season, and have bad matchup of the playoffs? No, to be fair to that Hawks team, their bad matchup was LeBron James. I'll do my all-star ballot next week. I'm kind of thinking, and I don't want to commit to this just yet because you guys know how I am about that stuff. I'm thinking maybe I might stream every day next week. And then also every day the following week leading up to the trade deadline, obviously, where we will do the trade deadline stream. Just a lot going on, a lot to talk about, a lot that I want to discuss. All-star voting really puts into perspective how much guard talent is in the NBA, even in the East. Yeah. Yeah, the guard backcourt is just absolutely stacked. East is going to be really interesting. Yeah, Rookie of the Year is absolutely wide open. I feel like it could be won by somebody having like a good 3-week stretch in March. Like that really might be it. Khalil Ware could absolutely plant his flag. It absolutely could be one of the Grizzlies guys. It would be sick to see Jalen Wells win it. Matas Mazzulla slam dunk champion, Rookie of the Year pipeline. I mean, some shit like that could happen too. Melvin Ajinka, yeah, bring him over. Did you see the Grizzlies might still want Jimmy? And the package would be centered around Wells. Am I crazy or is that a heist? Wait, from who? Who said that? Imagine the Mavs randomly trade for Draymond Green. There was once upon a time where I thought if Draymond were to get traded, I feel like it would 100% be to the Mavericks, but I don't feel that way anymore. Jalen Smith could be a buy low target for the Mavericks. Okay. I don't, that could be an option, I guess. I'm not taking, Siegel Scoops. Wait, we do like Siegel Scoops, don't we? All right, folks, we got a new Siegel scoop. Hot off the presses 30 minutes ago. Hot off the presses, folks. New Siegel scoop. You prefer double scoops? Single scoops. We're going healthy this year. Trade rumors surrounding Butler and the Heat do not solely control this year's deadlines. This will be interesting to see how this deadline plays out. I really am interested. Teams seeking to move below tax apron lines. Yeah, there's going to be a few of these. Indiana Pacers, Brooklyn Nets, and Atlanta Hawks, 3 teams within $1.2 million of the luxury tax this season. All of these teams want to remain below the mark. Yeah. In regards to the Hawks, there were early trade discussions this season surrounding DeAndre Hunter possibly being moved. There haven't been any indications that this is the case anymore. Yeah, DeAndre Hunter's been good this year. So they're 1.2 million above it or below it? How are the Nets paying that much money on their roster? I mean, they got Ben Simmons, obviously. Claxton, Cam Johnson. What do you think of Omac's play recently? He's been great. New Orleans Pelicans are looking to get off some money. They're trying to get off of $2.1 million. So, yeah, Daniel Tice, Javonte Green, traded into nothing, preferably for them. Which is why there's been some Javonte Green Mavericks talk. But I don't think they want to take back salary is the problem. Mavericks and Clippers find themselves as teams dealing with intriguing situations. Los Angeles about $2.5 million above the tax with an owner in Steve Ballmer who does not care what the price it takes for his team to win. Mavs got that money too, though, baby. That dirty money. Everyone around the league knows that the Clippers want to move PJ Tucker and Bones Highland to upgrade their front court. Shout out to Siegel. Is there any real stuff here that we haven't seen already a million times? This trade deadline just feels like we're regurgitating story after story after story after story. Over and over and over. Sadly, if we are still sitting here at the deadline in 2026 and OKC hasn't made the major move, would you be upset as a Thunder fan? Well, it depends on what they do this year. If they win the finals this year, fuck no. Who cares? If they flame out in the playoffs, yeah, I'm going to start wanting something. What up, Retna? Yeah, nothing's really happening. I'm not sure people are necessarily waiting on a Jimmy trade either. I mean, this Jimmy situation is so gross. Warriors fans, by the way, from what I can surmise on Twitter, are pissed off. They're very upset. That is true. They made big moves in the offseason, getting Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. Clippers, does Jones play? Yeah, Derek Jones Jr. plays and is very good. Slightly. All right, shout out to my guy Siegel. I'm not sure. Lakers interested in Nikola Vucevic trade. Late Thursday evening, league sources inform Clutch Points that the Lakers are still highly interested in Bulls center Nikola Vucevic. In fact, it would not be crazy to call Vucevic one of Los Angeles' top trade targets ahead of the trade deadline. AD said that he wanted a center, a big. That would be pretty interesting. Shout out to New Jersey. That would be pretty interesting. A floor spacing threat. The question is, do the Bulls say, he's under contract next year. Maybe we can hold out and get some more stuff in the summer this year, or maybe at the deadline next year? Or could they say, let's sell high. The Lakers are offering a first rounder. Let's just do it. Why doesn't AD embrace the 5 spot? He never has. I wonder what Vucevic is. At this time, nobody's been willing to offer up a first-round pick for the veteran center who's having a career year. I'm wondering if that gets to a first rounder. Valanciunas kind of feels like a Laker, doesn't he? It just kind of fits. Kyle Kuzma was another Wizards player that the Lakers explored options of pursuing. Interesting. Robert Williams does make some sense. Should the Lakers move Vanderbilt in a trade package to the Bulls for Vucevic? He's a player that Chicago would attempt to send elsewhere. Okay, I was just about to say that could be something the Dallas Mavericks get on. A team like the Dallas Mavericks, who have been searching for athleticism and length on the wing, could consider being involved in this type of scenario. Yeah, however, his injury concerns and longer contract would be problematic for Dallas. I do agree. What's his number? Now, it could work in the sense that I think he's about 10 million, right? He's at 10 million, but his contract, including this year's 4 years with a player option on that last year, 10 million, 11 million, 12 million, 13 million. So the idea could be a team says, oh, we'd rather have Maxi's contract, which expires 2 years earlier, than this 4-year Vanderbilt deal. But then the problem becomes this guy cannot stay on the fucking court. I mean, you talk about being injury prone. This guy hasn't played a game this season, played 29 games last year. Has really had a hard time staying on the court recently. And then, of course, you run the risk of you run the risk of him just never being the same and not really being healthy, and now you have that for 4 years contract wise. That's tough. Would Vando be much worse than Maxey on offense? No. Vando's going to give you very similar problems offensively, though. Doesn't shoot. Teams don't respect him from three. I'd rather have Maxey expiring after next year. Yeah, I don't know how excited I would be about getting Vanderbilt, if I'm being completely and totally honest. Keep an eye on Jalen Smith as a buy low target. That was something that got, aggregated right there. We've seen it. Jalen Smith. I don't know how much that would excite me much, to be honest with you. I don't know if Jalen Smith does much for me. $8 million this year. That's a weird contract to trade for. How do you get to that number? I'm looking youthful today. It's the lighting. Thank you. The Mavs are $5.2 million over the luxury tax line. Who gives a fuck? If they're not paying, fuck them. So it would be Maxey. And you know what? I kind of feel like with Jared Vanderbilt, you could maybe do a Maxey for Vanderbilt deal straight up with the team. I'm just not sure. I think Stein said it seems likely to stand pat. I'm not sure that that's a move I'm all that interested in. Would Rob Williams get you excited? Any trade would get me excited. I mean, I'm a sucker for that type of shit, but I mean, Jalen Smith opens up a Gafford for a perimeter defender this offseason. Yeah, I don't think they'd trade Maxey for Vanderbilt either, to be completely and totally honest with you. I know that sounds crazy to say. I don't want to overrate Maxey or anything like that, but I think his expiring deal in the summer becomes very valuable. And Vanderbilt hasn't played this season. And they do. They love Maxey. They love him. To get Smith, Mavs would have to trade Powell, Exum, and a minimum contract. Okay. Where's Vucevic? Is in expiring, is on the trade block. He's got a year left after this year. Kessler getting traded would make no sense to me. Nuggets sneaky play for buyout market. Who's an option in the buyout market? Do they have names? It is known around the league that Denver wishes to move out of the first apron, which they are about $5.6 million over. The main reason for doing so is because the Nuggets see a path to possibly reuniting with Bruce Brown. They're saying they might buy out Bruce Brown. That would be a little bit surprising. That would be interesting if Bruce Brown gets bought out and goes back to Denver. For the Nuggets to move below the first apron, they would need to move either Zeke Naji or a package of Dario Saric and a minimum contract player like Conchar. No team has shown interest in taking on Naji's contract. No, one of the worst contracts in the league. Which is weird because it's only like $8 million, but it's that bad. He's a nothing player. Somebody's going to overpay for Bruce. You think that, but it's just so weird that the contract situation across the league. Like, Bruce Brown's at $20 million. It's hard, it's really hard for teams to match that. With all of the new trade rules and trade restrictions. I can see Phoenix trading Bruce Brown for Nurkic and the shit pick. That's pretty interesting. Mavericks take Conchar to placate Luka. Yeah, maybe. I don't want that. I'm not that interested in that. Other trade notes in detail and intel. Charlotte Hornets, several teams around the league have been in contact with the Charlotte Hornets regarding newly acquired wing Josh Okogie. 2 years, $16 million for him. That could be interesting. $8 million a year. If you're the Hornets and teams offer second round picks for him, you do that easily. Caleb Martin, same thing. Second round picks. Let's do it. Miles Bridges, kind of interesting. Any scenario in which Herb Jones could be a Mav? I mean, yeah, there's scenarios. So the Cam Johnson Cleveland Cavaliers talk felt like it has heated up. What would that look like? I mean, in my brain, I just couldn't see a scenario where they muster up the package to make that happen, but I would love that for them, man. That would be incredible. Okoro, yeah, Okoro, but is that Okoro in their 2031 first? Isn't that what they can trade? Is that enough for the Nets? There are still a handful of people around the league who believe that the Detroit Pistons will pull off an unexpected move to add another interesting talent to their roster. Okay, I like that. Yeah. Now, I've heard this, and I'm just giving you guys a spoiler. I think I'm going to put it in my trade deadline predictions just because I think it'd be fun. I don't necessarily believe it's going to happen, but I've seen people on Twitter sort of theorize it. CJ McCollum would be really interesting on the Pistons. Really interesting. Really, really interesting. Celtics trade KP for Cam Johnson to fit better with the Jays. Oklahoma City Thunder, there is since around the league that Chet Holmgren could return from his hip injury shortly after the All-Star break. The Oklahoma City Thunder are in no rush to bring Holmgren back from his right iliac wing fracture. Yet he has been doing some light individual work, just some light work. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything. One of my big predictions was that the Thunder were going to make a big move at the deadline and win the finals this year. It doesn't sound like they're going to do anything. Thoughts on Nicola Melli to the Mavs? That was our missing piece. John Collins and Colin Sexton continue to generate trade interest around the league. Sources said the Utah Jazz have discussed scenarios with multiple teams, and they continue to receive calls about Walker Kessler. I just don't... Kessler stuff doesn't make sense to me. I wonder how real it actually is. What is up with the injury to Derek Lively this second, as well as Spencer Dinwiddie's positive performance, likely lessens the chances of Clarkson being traded to the Mavs. Where did that come from? Is that a real thing? Where did that originate from? That trade would make no fucking sense at all. I'm sorry. I would be really upset. Really upset if the Mavs traded for Jordan Clarkson. Really upset. Would make no sense at all. Now we should still explore Clarkson trade, but no for D-Live. No, that's not what they're saying. They're not saying it would be D-Live for Jordan Clarkson. They're saying Derek Lively getting injured changes what the Mavs would do at the deadline, and now they're not interested in Jordan Clarkson. There's no way, man. I would maybe believe this if Spencer Dinwiddie was getting like DNPs even in their current state, and it's like, oh, they hate Spence. Like they need another guard, but they clearly love Spencer Dinwiddie. I do not want Jordan Clarkson. It would make no sense whatsoever. Chet is never going to be the same player as he was prior to his injury. That seems extreme. Why don't I want Jordan Clarkson? It just doesn't make sense. You already have so many guards. There was also and shout out to our guy Siegel. Shout out to our guy Brett Siegel. I do wonder how much intel he has. You know, Tim Bontemps and Brian Windhorst, they do have some real intel. This was from earlier this morning, so let's see if there's some new stuff in this article. Which teams are desperate for a trade? Where 9 teams check in. Phoenix Suns, extremely high. Phoenix Suns are reaching incel levels of desperation. If they don't get this trade done, I could see a world where the Phoenix Suns are like, ugh, it's always the nice guys that finish last. That's the level of desperations that we are at with the Phoenix Suns. What is with Derek and Chet being always injured? Derek? Oh, Derek Lively? I don't know. Lively's are just, well, before this last injury, have just been these weird, small injuries that add up. Missed 3 games here, 4 games here. Where Chet's had 2 major injuries. Suns have always been an aggressive team, even across regimes they have been. This will be really interesting. I mean, the Jimmy stuff. Are we getting to a point? Like, is this happening soon? Milwaukee Bucks desperation level high. So this has been this kind of new development that's come out recently, is that they're actively on the phones trying to trade Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis. Of course, Pat Connaughton, we knew that. There was those reports last year that the Mavs and Bucks had pretty advanced conversations about Grant Williams for Bobby Portis trade. Right? The Chris Middleton stuff, not that surprising. He's been coming off the bench, those ankle injuries. Man, I would not like Bradley Beal on their team. I just wouldn't. If they could somehow get Zach LaVine, now that changes things. And I think we had an incendiary bomb today. Do we know if incendiaries? It goes back and forth a lot. Whether or not he's really somebody who's reliable. Wait, was it him who tweeted this? Who tweeted out the 5-team trade? The potential 5-team trade for Jimmy. Was that him? Oh, here it is. Incendiary bomb here. There's a potential 5-team Jimmy Butler trade framework making the rounds today. Suns get Jimmy. Bucks get Zach LaVine. Bulls get Bradley Beal plus draft capital. Heat get Chris Middleton additional assets plus draft capital. Now, I am wondering, isn't this what Bill Simmons and KOC theorized on their podcast? Like, sometimes I wonder if that's just when people say, hey, we're here, and it's just like, I listened to the Bill Simmons podcast 2 days ago. Is this exactly what they talked about? I'm just trying to think, what could the Bulls get? So Bradley Beal, I'm trading away. Honest, okay, if I'm putting myself in the head of these GMs, Suns, absolutely, fuck yeah, let's do it right now. Bucks, yes, fuck yes, let's do it right now. If I'm the Bulls, I'm saying, you know what? If we're just going off of the last 4 or 5 months, I think I'm trading the best player in this deal. Straight up. I think I'm trading the best player in this package. Why am I getting the worst contract in the NBA in return? And if I am, then what's my draft capital? 2 firsts, 3 firsts? Heat, yeah, you'd probably do this, I think. Chris Middleton allows you to be at least somewhat competitive still. What if they get all 3 of the first-round picks from Phoenix plus more? But then I guarantee you, put our head into the mind of these GMs. The Heat probably say, why am I not getting some first-round picks? I'm giving up the best player in this trade. The Suns, I'm giving up the best player in this. Billy Donovan coached Beal in college. Yes. Facilitator for unwanted salaries plus draft capital. If Zach LaVine were involved, the Bucks should give up their first. So I could see a world where maybe the Bulls get a couple of the Suns' shitty first-round picks, but still first-round picks nonetheless. And maybe they also get a really good-looking Bucks pick. So maybe two of those picks from the Suns, and the Suns save a first for like a salary dump elsewhere. If you're the Raptors and the Suns come to you, Bruce Brown for Nurkic and a first, is that enough? Are we assuming those are shitty? Minnesota going to be good? They are going to be shitty because it's the worst. You're getting the worst pick out of, what were the options? Utah, Minnesota, and Cleveland. Like the worst out of those 3 teams. Those picks are probably going to be shitty. Maybe you could say, maybe in the future they could be good, but it's kind of funny how Beal could shut the whole trade down, even if everyone else agrees. So my theory is, I know that Beal's agent has come out and said, hey, he's not waiving that no trade clause. My theory is they have had conversations. They've said they haven't. My theory is they wouldn't be moving like this if they didn't think Beal would do it. That's my theory. Obviously, could be very wrong. I'm kind of starting to see the framework of a deal here that does make sense. Right? From the Bucks, I'm much more motivated to go out and get a Zach LaVine than I am a Bradley Beal. Much more motivated. But the Sixers wanted Bradley Beal at one point. Embiid wanted Bradley Beal at one point. The Bucks wanted Bradley Beal before he got traded to the Suns. Maybe the league just views Bradley Beal much differently than we do. That's something to consider. That is just something to consider, that maybe the league just views him differently. I just don't think there's enough draft capital to go around to the Bulls, Heat, and facilitating teams. Let's just say in this hypothetical world, the Suns give up 2 of those picks. The Bucks have, what pick do the Bucks have to use? 2031. That could be a very valuable pick. I mean, that could. Do they even have that to trade? I know the Bucks are very limited in what they have to trade. $2031, and can they even trade that? They can, because they have a pick swap going to Portland for 2030. So if you're the Bucks, Chris Middleton, or maybe another contract or whatever, 2031 first for Zach LaVine. Are you doing that? You would have your defensive issues probably, but offensively, woo, damn. But now if you're Chicago, I get a 2031 first from the Bucks that could be very valuable. I'm getting maybe a couple of shitty firsts, but first nonetheless from the Suns. This trade kind of starts to make some sense. Where in the past I thought there's no way the Suns get Jimmy Butler unless they are just fucking a team. But now it kind of starts to, the pieces start to fall into place a little bit now. It would be funny if Beal was like, I'm not playing in Chicago. As the Bucks have shown going back to when they made the Damian Lillard trade last year, they are determined to maximize every bit of Giannis Antetokounmpo's title window. Yeah, they would trade that 2031 first. The Miami Heat desperation level medium. Sources on both sides of the Butler saga says there's motivation to get a deal done between now and the deadline. The Heat have had conversations with other teams, but so far the offers coming in haven't included what Miami is looking for. Players who can help now. Think about Chris Middleton. Young talent. Don't know what young talent the Heat could get in this theoretical trade here. The Suns can't send anything else out besides Beal. The Bucks could get below the second apron before this trade and then aggregate contracts, but what young player do the Bucks have? Beauchamp? Ugh. Like what? No. I mean, yeah, but no. Like they're not trading Andre Jackson. That would be the one that you ask about. They're not trading him. The Bulls, if I'm the Bulls, I'm like, I'm not giving up an exciting young player. I just did that. Zach LaVine. I'm not giving up another one to take on Bradley Beal's shit ass contract. And draft capital and salaries that expires by the summer of 2026. All right, they're asking for a little too much for my liking. While we haven't seen free agency play a big factor in the league in recent years, that summer could see stars such as Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, and Jaren Jackson Jr. becoming unrestricted free agents. It's always scary, lingering thought in the back of your mind. The Heat are a scary team. When there's teams that have cap space, you look at this year, the teams that have cap space, it's like the Nets, the Pistons, Spurs, okay. That one kind of gets a little interesting. Hornets have cap space. All right, whatever. When the Heat have cap space, that's where it gets a little spooky. No, Luka's going to extend the summer, I bet. For sure. Knicks desperation level is medium, while the Knicks are on pace to win 50 games in consecutive seasons for the first time in 30 years. How about that, man? How about that? Good for them. A season-long topic of conversation around the Knicks has been the heavy minutes for New York starters. Conversation every year for Tibbs. Missed the Jalen Smith talk. What are your thoughts on him? I don't have many. But while that has reignited long-standing debates over Coach Tom Thibodeau's penchant for leaning on his main players, it has also highlighted New York's lack of depth, something the Knicks were prepared to deal with when they chose to acquire Towns on the eve of training camp. The one real path to changing that, according to sources, is injured center Mitchell Robinson, either by his return to the court or by his inclusion in a trade. I thought about the Knicks a little bit. I don't really see... I think they choose the internal route. I do. Because here's the thing, I guess, for them. Who realistically, let's say Mitchell Robinson is able to return somewhat soon. Who realistically could you get in a trade that has the potential to raise your ceiling higher than Mitchell Robinson, if that makes sense? It's hard to think about that. It's a risk, obviously, but you're always taking risks when you trade guys. Suns like $30 million above the apron. Yeah, Suns aren't getting under the second apron. I was saying the Bucks. The Bucks can trade like Pat Connaughton and get under the apron, second apron. Memphis Grizzlies, desperation level medium. The Grizzlies have vaulted back into contention after injuries derailed them a season ago. That hasn't stopped Memphis from working on the phones. Yeah, remember, they were very close to a Dorian Finney-Smith trade, it sounded like. And they did not sound like they were happy about that deal falling apart. They've got an interesting trade package. You know, they can like combine to get a good amount of money. So that's why I thought the Jimmy to Grizzlies thing make a lot of sense. The Grizzlies are lurking in Butler trade talks. And so this is what makes me think the Grizzlies were like really trying to get Jimmy Butler. That's the only reason I could possibly think of why Jimmy Butler and his side, his group, his party has just openly been like, do not fucking trade me to Memphis. Yeah, I just want to leave the Heat, but not Memphis though. That makes me think that the Grizzlies have been pretty aggressive. I know Jimmy said anywhere but Memphis yesterday. That's why I'm saying. It's like they're a real possibility. Butler, meanwhile, has made it known that he could opt out of his contract this summer and seek free agency. Sources have theorized that if the Grizzlies can't acquire him for a playoff run and also free up cap this space this summer, that's where their interest might lie. Oh, interesting. So the Grizzlies might say, yeah, we're cool if you leave in the summer, actually. That's actually interesting. Chicago Bulls desperation level medium. I'm interested to see what they do. Where are they at in the standings? They're in the play-in tournament currently. The Bulls are always kind of a wild card. I mean, they're 10th, 19 and 26. God, the play-in is so fucking funny. 7 straight losses for the Sixers. I would say they're pretty safe in the play-in tournament unless the Sixers really turn it on. But do you care if you're the 10 seed? Like at this moment, do you care at all if you're the 10 seed in the East? I'm so interested by a trade that lands the Bucks, Zach LaVine. So interested by it. Brooklyn Nets desperation level medium. I would venture to guess that's actually low. Brooklyn has yet to move the player whom league decision makers have labeled as the most likely to be traded over the next 2 weeks. Really? Cam Johnson? I was just about to say, I feel like they'll probably have a high price tag for Cam Johnson. If that's not met, then they'll just keep him. He's openly said he's cool with staying there. He's under contract for how many more years? 2 years after this. He's 28 years old. Bulls got to finish top 10 in the draft. Other pick goes to OKC or Spurs. What? Wait, what? No, there's no way it goes to OKC. No. No. That's not right. That can't be right. It's got to be this. It's got to be the Spurs, I think. Yeah, Pirtle trade. Wait, no. Bulls? The Bulls were involved in some trade with the Spurs. For DeRozan. Yeah, okay. For DeRozan. Sign and trade. Cam Johnson's interesting. Kings have apparently been very aggressive for him. My thing, though, is, yeah, the Nets have shown that they're cool with hanging on to guys. Lakers desperation level low. Really? While Shams Charania reported on Wednesday that both LeBron James and Anthony Davis are concerned about the team's ability to make roster upgrades, James himself outlined the reality of what the team might be able to do about it after Sunday's blowout loss to the crosstown rival Clippers. That's how our team is constructed, James says. We don't have room for much error. The Lakers' recent discussion with teams shows little sign of aggression, sources say, and those actions speak to their concern level about their stars at the moment. The Lakers have shown a reticence to put their future first-round picks into trades in recent seasons. And there's no indication that that position has shifted. Moving D'Lo actually made it more difficult for the Lakers to swing a bigger deal. Yeah, that's true. I don't think there's a big trade out there for the Lakers. Why does Jimmy want to go to Memphis? I don't know. I really don't. I think he'd be a good fit there. They're competitive. They're good. It just feels like he wants to be in Phoenix. Warriors desperation level low. It should not be. It really shouldn't be. Desperate trades are desperate moves that deplete the future. There is a responsibility on allowing or keeping the franchise in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave the thing when we're done, Curry said recently. What an interesting quote that is, huh? That's such a weird, interesting quote for an active player to have, especially an aging active player. That kind of makes it sound that, one, maybe he's just kind of resigned to the fate. This Warriors team, he knows that there's just not really much that they can do. Or maybe it makes me think that he might retire and immediately go into a decision-making role with the Warriors. The other team in Paris, is this the same article? Interesting. I'm so intrigued by this. So intrigued by this 5-team Jimmy Butler trade. It almost sounds too good. Like, it almost makes too much sense. Lakers recently checked in with the Raptors about Jakob Poeltl. That would be really nice, but I doubt he gets traded. The Heat do not want salary back in the Jimmy Butler trade that goes past 2026. The Bucks are shopping Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis. Where is this ending up? Where is this ending up? I know you're trying to be realistic, but why isn't the Kings trade for Cam as unrealistic as Mavs trade for Herb? Yeah, I have to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised that I'd be a little bit surprised if the Kings end up with Cam Johnson, but it does sound like that's a very real possibility. Multi-team trade, Jimmy to the Grizzlies and Mavs get Aldama. That could be something that's interesting, but I kind of feel like the Heat would want him. The Heat are going to want to stay good. Like they're not tanking, they're not rebuilding, they're not tearing it down. They're going to want to stay competitive, which makes any team interesting. Okay, I did see an interesting Bleacher Report article that I wanted to react to close out the stream today. Head to the weekend. I'm now really interested by the idea of just the Grizzlies saying, fuck it. We know you don't want to be here, Jimmy, but we'll take a rental. We'll have money in the offseason. Like, I'm now kind of interested in that. There's smoke. There's definitely smoke. The fact that they've been so adamant. The fact that they have been so adamant about Jimmy's team has been so adamant about him not wanting to go to the Grizzlies. Now, why would they do that? Unless there's some real smoke there. Makes you think. Really makes you think. Do we think Jimmy Butler plays another game for the Heat? I think the 2-game suspension's already up. What's the worst that can happen? You lose Smart, Clark, and Kennard. Yeah, that kind of is it. Is it just like, okay, if you leave in the offseason, we have money? All right, this is what I wanted to look at. Mid-season reports. The mid-season report card for every NBA team. This was from yesterday. Let's go through it. Let's discuss it. I'm interested to see where some teams land. I'm interested to see, do they add context into this, or is it just, hey, we thought you'd be better than this. Yeah, you're dealing with X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter. You know, it's a report card. Teacher, I know I fucked up the test, but I didn't get any sleep. I've been dealing with a stomach flu. Doesn't matter. You failed the test. Let's see. Atlanta Hawks, B+. Quarter season grade is a B. Oh, okay. B+ for the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah. They've had a good season so far. Locked On Heat speculated they don't want him playing away games, so he can't speak to the media, so he might just play at home. That's interesting. That's interesting. Hawks 500 right now. I feel like that's kind of around what we thought their ceiling could be. Trey's leading the league in assists. Jalen Johnson hurt his shoulder last night. Was there an update on that? Jalen Johnson has been great. Dyson Daniels obviously has been a revelation for them defensively. I think if you're a Hawks fan, you're excited about this. You're just excited you're out of the Trae Young, DeJounte Murray business. Your team's just a lot more fun and exciting. Brooklyn Nets, B+. 14-31. I would agree. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games, but they're trying to lose now. They're actively trying to lose. You've already kind of seen it. We saw over the first couple months, hey, Jordy Fernandez knows his shit. This team plays hard for him. They play good basketball for him. Yeah, Grady Dick getting broken right here. The dick is broken. Tough picture. Tough picture for our guy. The Butler situation is so embarrassing. Yeah, I agree. It is embarrassing. Boston Celtics at a B, and that's dropped. Their quarter season grade was an A. They're a B right now. It's so weird to say for a team that's 31-14. So weird to say that I feel like they should even be lower than this. Like a C. I think the Celtics, compared to their preseason expectations, are probably like in C+ territory. It's not the end of the world. The sky's not falling. We're not, the 6th seed. But there's been enough bad play recently. Mediocre play, I guess I should say, compared. Well, yeah, mediocre pretty much. They're damn near a 500 team over the last 20 games. 20 games is a quarter of the season. Enough mediocre play that you're like, all right, what's going on here exactly? Like, are they just fucking around? Are they just coasting? Or is there some, serious concerns here? Drew Holiday shooting 10 percentage points worse from 3. Derek White's can't buy a fucking 3-pointer over the last month or so. Jaylen Brown's 30% from 3. Tatum can't hit a 3 to save his life lately. The anomaly. We have a negative net rating when KP, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum are on the court together. What's going on? I'd put them at a C, personally. Hornets C-. They've just dealt with so many injuries. And I 11-29. Fortunately, this was the year before the season started that I said I'm not putting the Hornets in the play-in tournament. Sneaky. They'll have an all-star, though. That's fun. They beat the Mavs, so good for them. Chicago Bulls C-. Yeah. This feels about right. It's been a little bit of a disappointing season for them. The Hornets need Zion. Ugh, I don't like Zion there. Cleveland Cavaliers A+++++++. 6 games up on the Celtics, man. 6 games up. 36-7. Lost that crazy game. That crazy game to the Rockets a few nights ago. That shit was crazy. I can't believe Darius Garland sold like that. He was shaking in his boots. Are the Bulls not trading Levine and Vooch? I guess we'll see. Mavericks had a B. They had us at a B+ at the quarter season grade. Okay. What would you guys give the Mavericks? (24-21). C, B. Yeah. This kind of feels about right. I'd maybe say C+. I don't know, though. They're 24-21. And look, every outsider has said the same thing. They'll be fine. They'll be fine when they're healthy. Now, the problem is Derek Lively's going to miss a lot of time. 7-11 since the last time they did this. Dallas can breathe easy knowing its overall season vitals are pretty good. It has a top 10 offense and defense. That's true. It's still top 10 offensively and defensively. So, it's been difficult, but they're stringing you along. They'll lose a game that feels impossible to lose and then beat the Thunder twice in the span of a week. And you're like, okay, hold on. There's still something there. You don't beat a team like the Thunder, even with all of the Thunder's absences. They're still winning a lot of games, the Thunder are. A for effort? Hell yeah. Denver Nuggets B. All right, I'll push back on this. I think they should be higher. I'd give the Nuggets maybe an A minus. Oh, well, this compared to their quarter season grade, that was a D. All right, so maybe if they're just basing this off of where they were last time. But I feel like a lot of the swing factors for the Nuggets are starting to go their direction. You know, Russell Westbrook's been great. Christian Brown really has been solid. Jokic is playing at an unbelievable level. Jamal Murray has seen a few good performances here and there lately. Yeah, 15-3 over their last 18 games. Pretty incredible. Detroit Pistons, A minus. What's preventing the Pistons from just being an A plus? Maybe Jaden Ivey's injury. I mean, this is about as good as you could get for the Pistons. They're the 6th seed. They're 23-21. Cade's gonna make an All-Star game. It just feels like if you told a Pistons fan that before the season, hey, how about halfway through the season, 23-21, Cade's making the All-Star game, they'd be like, dude, this is incredible. This is best case scenario. It does suck, Jaden Ivey's leg injury though, because he was having a great season to start. That's the one. Golden State Warriors D plus. My God, they have just fallen off so badly. It's hard to believe the start that they had, which always felt a little fluky. That start always felt a tiny bit fluke-like, but not to this level. Power of friendship, 12-man bench ball was never sustainable. Well, Buddy Hield shooting 50% from three. So funny. Everyone was saying, yeah, Buddy Hield's playing well, but this is how it always goes. Warriors fans, be ready. And they were all like, no, this is different this time. No, it never works. But it just might work for us. So annoyed how they're trying to delude themselves into thinking they're contenders. They have been without Jonathan Kuminga, which has hurt them. I'm just so interested by their overall approach to the trade deadline. It's like, yeah, we don't need a trade. So weird to me. Not like it makes some sense for players on the roster just to be like, hey, I don't know. Like, I'm not the GM. We like the guys we have. But it's another thing to openly just be like, no, we don't want to trade. Houston Rockets A, yeah, it's been great for them. 2nd seed in the West. Unbelievable. Realistically, what's preventing them from being an A+? I guess A+ would be like, hey, Jalen Green is absolutely the guy. We're good. I guess maybe that would put them in A+ tier. 29-14, 6.5 games up. Or 6.5 games behind the Thunder. 2 seed. Unreal. Pacers at a B. Their quarter season grade was D-. Yeah, the Pacers have turned it around quite a bit. It's been their defense. 24-20 now. I was watching the Paris games yesterday. It was on NBA TV. Why would that game not be on ESPN? Like, I really don't understand that at all. Like, what's the point of doing the Paris games? This big event, Wemby's overseas, Wemby's at his hometown. Why is that game not on one of your major broadcasting networks? I don't count NBA TV, especially if you're not doing a specific broadcast. Like, they just brought in the Pacers broadcast. That's just stupid. It makes no sense to me. Like, that should be on ESPN. It should be on TNT. Like, that should be a whole thing. It makes no sense. But anyways, the Pacers broadcast team, man, they were a tough listen yesterday. The Spurs were going crazy in the third quarter, 3 after 3. And granted, most of them were good shots, mind you. And the Pacers broadcast team was like, this is good for the Pacers. The Spurs, they're not going to keep making these. This is a good sign for the Pacers. They're down by like 18 points. Devin Vassell hit a wide open transition three. Their broadcast team goes, no, actually, this is a good news for the Pacers. They're in good shape. I'm like, dude, you guys are down 18 in the third quarter. But anyways, good stuff for the Pacers. They are playing much better. How about my guy Jarris Walker, huh? Los Angeles Clippers A+. 25-19, 6th seed currently in the Western Conference, a game and a half up on the 7th-seeded Dallas Mavericks. So if you're going to give the Clippers an A+, I kind of feel like you have to give the Rockets an A+. Right? But yes, the Clippers have been really good. And now Kawhi's back. Yeah, of course. This is the January curse with the Clippers, where you start to talk yourself into some things. It's like, well, if Kawhi's back and like playing and healthy, and Norm Powell's playing like an all-star, James Harden's playing like an all-star, you've got a bunch of athletes and defensive players. You know, that's usually what happens with the Clippers. But they have had a great season so far. Lakers C+. This feels harsh. They're the 5 seed in the West. Not a little harsh? They have been very healthy, and a lot of their vitals, a lot of their under the hood numbers show that they are probably not anywhere near as good as their record shows. Despite ups and downs on both ends of the floor, it has won many of those games it should, excelling at home and losing just once to an opponent below 500. That's what good teams do, to be fair. The Lakers' outlook gets murkier when looking at the entire picture. They have the worst record among West playoff squads against 500 or better, are 24th in net rating on the road, and plays 20th in Basketball Reference's simple rating system. Interesting. Okay. They don't beat good teams. I mean, still, all that considered, is C+ not a little harsh? Like, weren't their expectations going into the season a 500 team? That was what, like, almost everybody expected them to be. Was that not what their over-under was? Grizzlies an A. I just don't. So the Clippers are an A+. What is preventing the Grizzlies from being an A+? I don't really get it. Top 5, both offense and defense. That's actually crazy. G.G. Jackson's back. Yep. Going to an A+ is reasonable under the circumstances. Desmond Bane is trending upward, and Jaren Jackson Jr. functional expansion remains divine, even amid shakier efficiency. But there remains a house of cards feeling to the offense. That's really it. You're only saying harsh because the standings say 5 seed? Okay, no. Okay. What was their NBA preseason win totals? Let's see. What was their preseason win total? Wasn't it around 500? They were projected to win like 41 games. 42 and a half wins. They were projected to be just above 500. They're 24-18. This website is also projecting based on underlying stats. Yeah, I get that. Miami Heat being a C. 21-22. The Jimmy Butler saga. Tyler Hero has been great. I mean, that's a huge plus for you. But yes, Bam Adebayo's disappointing season would be the story of the year for them if it were not for this Jimmy Butler fiasco. Milwaukee Bucks B. That feels about fair. Where makes the Heat a B-. I don't think the Heat could be anything other than a C, all things considered. Your best player throwing a fucking fit and tantrum like this, and you eventually probably having to trade him for like 50 cents on the dollar. No way you can get higher than a C. What up, Bretna? Timberwolves D+. Yeah, feels right. Interesting. Like, you compare them to the Mavs. You know, Timberwolves 23 and 21, Mavs 24 and 21. Who wrote this? Shout out to him. Whoever wrote this, shout out to him. This is what I've been saying. There's a big difference between the Timberwolves vibes being stinky as fuck and them being healthy. And there not really being a lot of like encouraging signs versus the Mavs, where it's like, hey, when this team's healthy, we know they're great. They just got to get healthy. Would you trade D-Live for Bam? I'm not answering that question. New Orleans Pelicans C-. They've gone up a little bit. Props to them. 7-3 in their last 10 with a 4-game winning streak. Knicks at a B. That feels around fair. 29-16, but it's kind of been uneasy at times. They have the same contract, yes, but Bam makes so much more money. Yeah, Bam's contract is spooky for sure. I guess you're not concerned about the Knicks. Who are your top 5 most disappointing players this year? I don't know. Bam's definitely on that list, though. Thunder at an A. Their quarter season grade was an A-. 68 win pace, A. Okay. I think I kind of agree with them not being an A+. Which I know sounds crazy and contradictory to what I've been saying, but we knew they'd be a great team. And there's still some stuff. Like Chet and Hartenstein not playing a lot together. Sucks. There's still some stuff offensively for them where it's like, damn. In the playoffs, that's going to be a problem. But we did the same exact stuff with the Celtics last year. After every loss they had, I was like, that's going to kill them in the playoffs. Orlando Magic. B+, feels right. 23-23, 500, 2-8 in their last 10, lost 5 in a row, but been dealing with so many injuries. Yeah, their offense has been concerning, even when guys have played at times. So okay, I'm sorry. Is there no Fs? I mean, the Sixers have to have an F. They have to. There's no world where the Sixers are not an F. I don't give a shit. Like, even the one beacon of hope that the Sixers had was, well, Jared McCain, it looks like we had a home run on that. He's out for the season now. So they have to be an F. The one thing that kept you going is now out for the rest of the year. And your team is built to win right now. I mean, you gave an old-ass Paul George a giant contract. He's been terrible. Joel Embiid, who knows how many fucking years he has left, genuinely. I know that sounds shitty to say, but call a spade a spade. And you're like at real risk of not even making the play-in tournament. Phoenix Suns F+. Oh, my God. Wait, so how do the Suns, which I don't mind this, how do the Suns get an F+, but the Sixers don't? I don't mind the Suns getting an F. I think it's hilarious. Clinging to the bottom of the play-in territory is a failure of epic proportions by the Phoenix Suns. I do kind of agree. If you're a team that goes all in and this is the state of your team, you failed. Straight up. You can use the power of hindsight. You can use all of this hindsight GMing. You failed. And we'll see. Getting Jimmy Butler will make them better for sure. They are 7-3 in their last 10. Nick Richards will help them. It feels like their schedule's been really weird. Who have they beat over the last 10? We looked at this recently. They beat the Nets, the Pistons, good team, Wizards, Hornets, Jazz, Hawks, and the lowly Sixers. Jesus, what is that fucking schedule? I mean, what is that schedule? Sixers, Hornets, Hawks, Jazz, Hornets, Hawks, Wizards, Pistons, Cavs, Nets. With the Wizards coming up tomorrow night. How is that even possible to have a stretch like that in the Western Conference? I know we joke a lot, but Luka really did it. The Suns. Trailblazers C, it's fine. Kings B-. They're working their way up. The vibes are good. They got their asses handed to them last night. They're kind of similar. Well, you know what? I was going to say they're kind of similar to the Suns. They're on this like schedule stretch, but not to that extreme. They've beaten the Rockets. They beat the Warriors. They beat the Celtics. They beat the Grizzlies. They beat the Mavs, but Mavs had absolutely no one. The Grizzlies didn't have, if memory serves correctly, the Grizzlies didn't have John Morant. And they're 2 losses over their last recent stretch. They're 2 of their only losses. Bucks, no real shame there. Bucks have been playing really well on the road. And then Denver on the road. Spurs C+. Okay. Feels a little harsh. No? 20-22. Wemby's playing incredible basketball. I don't know. I feel like I'd put them at like a B-. They've been exactly kind of what you expected. Raptors C, all right. Considering context, the only quality win in that stretch was Houston. Yeah, that's true. But they're still winning though. Jazz C, that's fine. Wizards C-, fine. It feels good to finally have real. It feels like it's been a while since we've had real dregs this early in the season. With the play-in tournament and stuff has led to teams deciding to tank later than usual. But the Wizards, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Nets, the Jazz. I mean, these teams are really fucking going for it. Props to them. Hardy and the Raptors are my favorite. Hardy, the Raptors coach, my favorites for the Mavs coaching job if Kidd ever leaves. If you're a tanking team and you're successfully tanking, you deserve at least a B. Well, you want to be tanking and losing games, but you want there to be positives coming out of it. So, like, Sar's been decent. You know? So that's good. That's a positive. For the Jazz, see, the Jazz are one of these weird ones where it's like, I wish I had more positive things to go off of. You know? Kessler's been nice. Process tanking doesn't work. What do you mean by that? Would you consider the Thunder to have been a process tanking team? They were more of a rebuild. The way to go seems to be trade. Trade your way to the top instead of just outright being bad for like 4 or 5 years. Look at the Thunder. I mean, the Celtics. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They got from trading their core. OKC hasn't gotten out of the second round yet. That day's coming soon. It is kind of interesting. I'm trying to think of the teams that are really good right now. Thunder through trades. Rockets. I don't know if you consider the Rockets processing. And then they made huge trades as well. Grizzlies. I mean, the Grizzlies have built their team around 2 top 5 picks, 2 top 4 picks even. Rockets' best player is the 16th pick. True. Cavs. They didn't really bottom out either. Made a great trade for Jared Allen. Went all in for Donovan Mitchell. Darius Garland, Mobley, both top 6 picks. Knicks, no processing there. Interesting. What are the teams that you would consider processing? The Wizards in the process of processing. The problem with processing is it really helps to trade guys and get like 4 or 5 picks, but you have to have those guys. And that takes years. God, the Wizards are in a bad spot. The Spurs are processing, yeah, but even then, they got picks for Derek White. They got picks for DeRozan. They got picks for DeJounte Murray. The Wizards are in the worst spot imaginable. At least some of these other teams have like traded guys for a ton of picks. Nets, Wizards, Jazz. Yeah, but the Jazz traded guys for a ton of picks. Nets have traded guys for tons of picks. Wizards are better off than the Jazz, for example? No, they're not. They're not. They're not at all. Let me explain why. The Jazz already have a ton of picks at their disposal. Where if they wanted, if they just want to say, you know what, fuck it, we're making trades, they could do it. And also, too, if they wanted to trade Larry Markkinen for 3 first-round picks tomorrow, they could do it. Well, they couldn't because he can't get traded this season. But you get what I'm saying. What do the Wizards do? They don't have a lot of other teams' first-round picks. Maybe we trade Kuzma for a shitty first-rounder. Like we trade Valanciunas for some seconds. Trade Kuzma for some seconds. Jazz have all the picks, but no good players on rookie deals. I'd rather have the treasure chest. Pick shit's so overrated. I don't know. It allows you to make trades. Wizards are in a bad spot. Even the Hornets don't have a lot of like other teams' picks, but they could trade LaMelo tomorrow if they wanted to. Get a ton of picks in return. What classic game do they have on NBA TV right now? Melo. Charlotte Bobcats 2014. Is this the Melo 60 piece? All right, folks. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. I love you. We're thinking about maybe streaming every day next week. We're thinking about it. Longer stream today, damn. I like doing the longer streams. Going back an hour, the longer streams, it works. I like it. Starting tomorrow? No weekend streams. Well, actually, dude, this fucking shit. Actually, we'll be live on playback tomorrow for the Celtics game. Mavs Celtics game. Rival stream. Southern week if the Mavs are winning it all. You get that? Thank you all for coming out. All of the OGs, guys, I love you very much. Could have spent your Friday morning anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys will not regret it. Or rank as your mantis. We're on Lore, baby. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. Makes me feel so good. Woo! 13 days we'll be doing our trade deadline stream. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I love those. Video coming about the Suns 2015 trade deadline, by the way. Maybe Sunday. Thinking on Sunday I'll drop that. It's taken longer than I expected. It's taken longer than I've expected. Anyways, thank you all for coming out. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Playback.tv/slightlybiased tomorrow. Love you all. Bye.